Is it time to crack? Is it time to...
I never know. Whenever we start this, I always feel like I'm a baby being thrown into the ocean. Just
You have to explain that.
just like it was. It's a bit of
I can empathise with the baby. God,
I amped up the metaphor a little bit.
Slightly.
I mean, just like a baby, or not a baby, a small child, like, learning how to swim.
So, like, being thrown in the deep end.
Yeah. But what deeper end is there? That's the ocean. And everything's deep to a baby.
You lost the metaphor entirely because you just amped it up to the most extreme levels possible.
Yeah, I mean the kid's smaller and the pool bigger.
Yeah. It's saying...
Well, what I mean is that, when we start here, I feel like I've never done a podcast before.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of fuck, what are we actually going to do? Are we going to press play and then I'm just
just launch in?
I'm here, and then we start, and then it's fine.
Yeah, but I think it's once you just dive in to use your extreme metaphor.
Yeah. Well, the baby doesn't dive; it's just
thrown in.
Yeah.
A baby drowns. Don't use that metaphor.
Well,
that's not a good omen.
Not enough. It's the chosen one.
But every other baby who's not the chosen one.
Yeah.
It's like that, Baby Pile 300. It's just think of the Baby Pile 300.
I saw the 300 once. I don't.
It's like, yeah. So the beginning of the movie is all about only the healthiest Spartan babies survive, and you're gonna cut to this pit of just abandoned babies who aren't fit enough to be Spartans.
Oh, they're not thrown into the ocean. They're just left.
They're thrown into a pit of babies.
But are they thrown in there, or are they just placed in there?
They're thrown in.
You know what? It's not surprising that was directed by Zack Snyder.
That's such a Zack Snyder thing to do.
I heard the new Superman movie starts with babies being thrown into a giant pit.
Man of Steel. 2-man, 2 steel.
I was going to say Man of Steel. That sounds like a name, though.
Man of Steel.
Amanda Steel.
Amanda Steel.
Isn't that the name of the girl from 50 Shades?
That's Anastasia Steel. You were fairly close.
And his name's Grey and she's Steel.
Yeah.
So shouldn't it be the other way around? Because he's got a steely personality. He's cold
and she's got no personality, so she's grey.
Yeah.
Well, he's not really cold. He's just kind of a crazy person.
Isn't he just a horrible stalker? But he's hot, so it's fine.
He's hot and rich, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But to be fair, every man in her life is a horrible, crazy person. So in this film, her best friend posts photos.
What film?
The first film. So I watched 50 Shades Darker on Sunday.
Is that the third one?
That's the second one.
The second one?
Yeah.
Oh, the third one is Freed.
Yeah. And the second one, it cuts to this art gallery. It starts in an art gallery. And then she walks in and there's all these photos of her. She has no idea they've been taken, let alone posted online. So she walks in and she's what the fuck is this? And her friend's oh, you're so beautiful. I couldn't help but post these photos in this gallery where everyone can see them. And she's sure. And that's the nicest crazy person in this movie.
I don't want to watch these movies.
They're fucking great.
I thought they'd be... Is it entertaining?
There's at one point there's a helicopter crash, and
What? Why?
And they're in the living room, wanting to see if Christian Grey's okay, and he just shows up.
Does he catch it and do a bicep curl with it like Captain America?
If only. I'd love that, but no. I should probably just start.
Okay, let's start. Let's throw this baby in the ocean.
How's it going, true believers? Welcome to another episode of That 90s Spider-Man Show, the only podcast which contains 100% of the daily fibre. I'm your host today, and I'm Henry, and alongside me, when he hits the road, he don't come back no more, it's Jack.
Hi everyone. You know that song, so I've been at so many gigs where it plays, and then whoever I'm with, looks over at me and, starts urging me, hey, Jack, and I'm yeah, my name's in the song.
Yeah, I had a couple of, in the ammunition for this, so I was this is what I'm going to go with. This is a good combination. Fiber and, I want to say Ray Charles? This is wildly irrelevant. But, welcome to another episode of That 90s Spider-Man Show. We're ready to talk about Spider-Man. Are you ready to listen? Well, I'm hoping so. You've clicked on it.
The answer might be no
Yeah.
at this point.
I mean,
Are you ready to listen? You know what? No.
I've had enough of these crazy people. Why have I listened to like 30 seconds of this?
It's too late. You downloaded.
Yeah. You're in now. It was a free download. You've committed. And you've committed to episode 4 of That 90s Spider-Man Show, which is also episode 4 of the animated series, which is called Doctor Octopus, Armed and Dangerous.
They could have just called it Armed and Dangerous.
They're going Doctor Octopus, Armed and Dangerous.
Yeah, it's like the title of his own movie.
Yeah. Like a series of Doctor Octopus movies. There's Air Bud, like, spin-offs, where, like, you'd have, like...
What?
Do you know Air Bud?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just like, how is this...
This is slightly relevant. So, like, I'm talking about, like, the colonization. That's not what I mean by...
The colonization?
The colonization. That's a different thing.
The colonization of the Air Bud franchise.
Like a Labrador, like, rounds all these, like, African slaves into a boat.
I was going to stop you, but it's too slow.
You're always too fast. You'll never stop me, Jack. I feel in the same way that Airball kind of starts off with, like, I think, what is it? I think it's just, like, baseball, and, like, there's all these, like, dog-themed puns based on, like, different sports, which is what I wanted to bring up. I don't really remember why I wanted to bring it up. Anyway.
I think you were saying that Doctor Octopus will have his own spin-off movie in the same way that the Air Bud movies had spin-offs.
Yes. With different sports themes and, like, different octopus puns.
So you can have, like, Doc Ock, Armed and Dangerous is, like, him playing hockey.
And you have, like...
A chimp friend.
A trusty chimp friend who helps him.
I'd watch a movie about Doc Ock teaching a chimp how to play a sport.
Yeah. That chimp eventually beats him and he gets really, like, prissy about it because he's a terrible loser.
Yeah, he's, like, really... But his heart slowly softens to loving the chimpanzee. And
then they make like this whole like they make the final and they kind of like have this big moment where the chimp wins the game in the last minute and it's really emotional. And then he hugs it with his tentacles and he kills it accidentally. And each different movie has a different chimp that he kills in like an accidental way.
Oh, I don't think kids would like that.
You can only try. Like that's what most like kids things are about now. Just trying to see what works. And maybe, like, unexpected, like, chimp murder is the way to go. Or accidental chimp murder.
Unexpected chimp murder?
Yeah.
We're getting so many podcast titles already.
Yeah. It sounds like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Or Steven Seagal, actually. Like, Steven Seagal in Unexpected Chimp Murder.
I wish he did movies like that.
I mean, like, I think it's the next logical step, isn't it? Because he's done, like, all those kind of terrible, like, death on arrival. Where he kind of walks at, like, a glacial pace.
Yeah, but he knows how to hold a gun and point it at people.
Yeah.
I think if someone was like, oh, and there's a chimp in this, he would be like, whoa. That's too much for me.
That chimp is going to out-tap the shit out of me. I'm going to look like an arsehole next to this chimp.
Yeah.
Just throwing its shit around. And it's like, oh, fuck. That's my job, man.
How about this? A sequel to the most valuable primate.
Most
vertical primate. And most extreme primate, that series, you can have a 4th entry, which is MVP Armed and Dangerous, starring Steven Seagal as Doctor Octopus.
Oh, I'd watch that. And, like, the chimp doesn't talk, does it? Because, like, I feel like Steve Buscemi would make a great chimp for some reason.
I think we should just get a chimp, I think, what is this? Is this going to be, like, CGI'd onto a...
I was kind of thinking, like, you just kind of put peanut butter in its mouth and it kind of looks like it's talking, but it's just Steve Buscemi. Like they did in the 90s with, like, Look Who's Talking.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Wait, you're putting peanut butter in Steve Buscemi's mouth?
The chimp's mouth. So it, like, moves his mouth up and down so it looks like it's talking, but...
Oh, I see what you mean.
Why would Steve Buscemi get to eat peanut butter? That doesn't make...
Well,
he can eat peanut butter whenever he wants to.
You know what?
I'm not going to control
it doesn't make sense, but it's only a little bit behind your idea in terms of sense. Well, you'd suck in a production meeting because they're trying to solve problems, and you're like, why isn't the chimp played by Steve Buscemi? And they're like, why would you add this like expensive actor to the mix when you're just adding a problem? You're like, what if we just like flush this money down the toilet?
But like in the most spectacular way, yeah.
I guess it would get people to watch it more.
Yeah, I'd definitely watch it if Steve Buscemi was playing the chimp. Oh god.
It's all going. It's fine.
Let's get into like episode 4, which is all about Doctor Octopus,
Yeah.
the definitive Spider-Man villain, in my opinion.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you kind of think about Spider-Man's villains, and most of them are kind of jokes for the most part. Obviously, you have like Venom, who's like a rebuke of Spider-Man, and Green Goblin, who's just doing a costume throwing bombs. But Doctor Octopus is like, he's got the arms, he's got the arachnid thing, he's got the octo thing. So you're like, he's got 8 legs. Spider-Man has 4 legs. It's twice the amount of legs.
Spider-Man has 4 legs. What are you talking about?
Well, like 4 limbs.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I was like, neither Peter Parker nor Spider-Man has 4 legs.
But like, you can't split the difference. Now it'll be 5 legs then.
What? I have no idea what you're on about now.
But no, Doctor Octopus is here. He's...
Yeah. Well, I remember, like, when I was younger, I didn't really think of him as that. From my exposure to Spider-Man at that age. But as time goes on, you look for it, it's like, yeah, well, he is the arch-villain.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Green Goblin kind of gets that rep a little bit, but he's only there because he's done the worst shit.
Yeah. He's the craziest stuff.
He's the one who turns up again and again to be like, oh yeah, the worst thing that ever happened to you, that was me.
It's kind of like the difference between the Joker and like between like Bane, for example. So like Joker's like his main villain, but Bane will come in and just like, hey, remember this when I like crippled you? And Batman will be like, no, I don't remember that.
Oh right, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's get crazy. Let's get weird.
We start off with Spider-Man swinging onto a train. He's hitching a ride out into the countryside.
Well, how many like cars does this train have by any chance?
According to the Wikipedia page, it has 7 cars.
7 cars?
Yeah, you got to check out the trivia section of the Spider-Man animated series wiki. It's very informative.
It's probably too informative.
If you wanted to know every single detail about every single thing that happens, then it's right there.
Yeah, I mean, like, who doesn't want to know how many cars there are on the train and like what colour the sky is? Assuming it's not blue, which it is.
Yeah, there is something in there about the moon. Like they're writing about like how the moon is on one side of the house, and therefore that gives you the location details of where Felicia Hardy's room is.
How would you even figure that out? How much time would that have taken?
I don't want to engage with it that way because I feel like that's just a rabbit hole.
And we're just going to go down it, and then we'll be here until literally tomorrow morning. So, Spider-Man, he's on a train with 7 cars. He's getting off the train with 7 cars. Where does he go?
He's turning up. He's got a date with Felicia Hardy.
Wait, so what happened to Mary Jane in this? Because at the end of last episode, he's kind of like, oh, look, it's Mary Jane. She's really hot. My face is falling apart as I look upon her hotness.
Yeah, I think...
Did he just ghost her?
Maybe. I think that kind of happens in the comics a bit. But I think he at least goes on a date with her.
And just kind of...
But then she's kind of like Mary Jane's like crazy and just like always living her life and running around. And Peter's like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to go hang out with this other girl now instead. Yeah. So no, he seems to be trying with Felicia.
For like ages, yeah.
He turns up to her mansion and is talking about how massive it is. Like when he comes in after changing into his civilian clothes, he says like their lawn is like his biggest central park.
Yeah.
It's actually like ludicrously big.
It is stupid big, yeah.
And then he's also like, maybe I should have worn a suit or like change a shirt or something. Like he's literally wearing the exact same clothes he wears everywhere.
Yeah.
Like a pair of jeans and the same t-shirt.
A polo shirt, like the really ugly polo shirt he wears.
Yeah, and he probably hasn't washed it. It's the exact same pattern.
Like there's like a coffee stain from like last week on it still, and he's like, yeah, fuck it.
But he's got pretty bad timing because he's like, as soon as he gets in there, we see glimpses of Doc Ock.
We see like these tentacles like insidiously like stalk around.
Yeah, and like fuck with the cameras and stuff.
Yeah. And like all the security's like just flailing around, going like, "What's happening in Sector G?" And they're just so get picked off. It's very like very horror movie-esque, isn't it?
Yeah. So he gets in. He's unaware of all this, but he's just like he's just talking about his spider sense is just not going off at all during this whole period.
Yeah.
But he's just he comes in. He's remarking on how massive the whole place is, but still manages to bump into like the one flower pot in the entire massive entryway.
He literally says it's as big as his like aunt's apartment.
Yeah.
And there's one thing he has to look out for, and he still fucks it up.
And he ends up like grabbing some flowers and handing them to Felicia. She comes down the stairs
He's like,
with the pot of flowers right behind him. She still thanks him for it.
The best part is that like she knows, she's like, oh, thank you, and then she just takes them from him and just puts them back in the pot. Oh, this dumb motherfucker.
Then, just to rub it in at how rich she is, he asks her where her mother is, and she says, oh, she's out buying a new yacht.
Because, yeah, of course. That's what rich people do. They just buy yachts.
Yeah.
So, like, who's her dad in this?
I don't know. I mean, it might actually come up later, because her dad has a purpose in the comics.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'm not sure what they do with that, so...
I don't really remember that at all. Like, I just remember...
I don't really remember much about Felicia Hardy in this, other than there are two sides of her, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. That's coming. Don't worry. But no, they're about to go on this date.
Yeah, she's like, well, I think they're going to go for a drive somewhere, like, in her convertible. She's like, I'll go get a jacket, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll keep you warm.
And she just shuts him down.
Yeah, she's just like, yeah, I'm actually going to get a jacket, though. Like...
Yeah.
Not even giving him the time of day with that.
What, like, kind of feels a bit obvious here is she's just humouring him. She doesn't really want to be here. She's like, okay, I'll go out with this, like, nerd.
It feels like she, in all of these scenes, she seems to really like him, but then he can... anything he does is, like, immediately wrong.
Yeah. He's just bumbling over himself. Exactly.
But he hears her scream when she goes upstairs to get her jacket, so he runs into the room. And who's there?
But Doctor Octopus, having broken his way into her bedroom.
I mean, this version of him is... I'd forgotten how particular it is, because it's so different in a lot of ways. Yeah. For one thing, Doc Ock is usually, like, kind of chubby, at least. Like, he's a proper, like, regular dude scientist. But this guy is, like...
He's really, a unit.
He is really tall and muscular and has, like, yellow and green body armor.
Yeah.
As if he's ready to, like... take on the supervillain fighting role.
He was waiting his entire life to become a supervillain.
And not only that, but he's got a German accent.
Which I like better. Otto Octavius isn't a very American name.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think in the comics, like, maybe he they go into his ancestry. I can't remember, but they...
Yeah, that's what everyone wants to know about Doctor Octavius.
I never read it and was like, oh, okay, this guy has a German accent. Although I guess it kind of makes sense because you're just like, oh, it's an evil scientist. I guess they gotta have some kind of European accent to be evil.
Yeah, like every James Bond film kind of confirms that.
But I think it's just easy. I feel like that might even be a voice actor thing.
Yeah,
like the voice actor just came and did that accent. They were like, cool. Sounds evil.
Was he actually German, or was he just doing an accent?
Oh, talking about the voice actor, I was curious who it was, so I looked it up. It's the same guy who voices Alfred in the Batman animated series from the 90s as well.
Shit.
Yeah.
Does he have a German accent in that as well?
No, it's just like, Alfred's British.
Yeah.
He's just like, Pip Pip.
Okay. No, that makes much more sense.
As we all speak.
Pip Pip, yes. That's how I should have started this podcast, actually, with a Pip Pip. I'm sorry, Queen Elizabeth, I failed you. So, Doctor Octopus, having not spoken throughout the entire thing, like the whole way through the scene, he's silent, like a horror movie monster. He kind of picks her up, Felicia. He smacks out Peter Parker, and then leaves. Yeah, and the next scene is him like being questioned by the FBI. They're questioning him, like, so you're saying that a man with octopus arms came in and took her, like conveniently ignoring the giant hole in the wall.
Yeah,
they don't believe him. They don't have an explanation. It's clearly not that.
They start getting on the case a bit more when Mrs. Hardy arrives and she's told that her daughter has been kidnapped. There's a ransom note from someone whose name she recognises, Doctor Otto Octavius.
And this immediately sparks a flashback in Peter's mind.
Well, first she says that, well, okay, this is a guy who we gave grant money to from the Hardy Foundation, and then...
We cut him off and he kind of...
Yeah, we cut him off. He's probably looking for rent, and then... That's when like Peter's like, I think I remember this guy, and has this sort of what I think is definitely the first appearance of Uncle Ben.
Is he there?
Yeah, because he says my Uncle Ben took me to this science camp,
oh, right.
And then it shows him walking into the science camp with Uncle Ben when he was 10 years old, and I think this is the first mention of him as well, right? It's
the very first mention of him.
We don't even know that he's dead.
No, I mean, we assume
they're just going to avoid the topic because it's kind of depressing.
It's
for
super
kids,
dark,
I guess, but
this is his father figure who got murdered because he was selfish that one time.
Yeah.
This is why you shouldn't be selfish, kids, ever.
Uncle Ben will be killed every time you're selfish. Going back to this science camp, he was there and Otto is like super friendly, nice guy, and Peter kind of fucks up and like has a little explosion with his chemistry set, and everyone laughs at him, but Otto is kind of like, hey man, science is what's important, don't give a shit what other people say to you.
Can we like address how like 10-year-olds should be handling chemicals which explode in their faces? They don't even wear goggles, for
I
God's sake.
think it makes sense though, because this still tracks as Otto being an asshole.
A crazy person.
Yeah, because he's still like, well, I'm going to give him explosive stuff. And what he's saying is nice to him, but he's also still kind of going like, science is what's important. You don't need other people.
Yeah.
Which is maybe not the best lesson.
You don't need your eyesight if these chemicals get in your eyes. No.
Just wear cool sunglasses like I do.
Yeah. And he's got these like really like thick glasses. He's got like a nice sweater. He looks like a modern day hipster a little bit. You can hear.
And then he ruins it by getting a green and yellow super suit,
which is like what we're wearing in like 5 years. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be wearing it, and then our mums will be like saying like, oh, "You just wear it because everyone else wears it." Like, I'm not. I just actually like it. It's not a trend.
I like these green and yellow power suits. They look great.
I like these 4 mechanical arms that I can use to like bend iron bars.
Well, you better. They cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I better not see them in the closet a year from now.
Yeah, that shit's adamantium.
Yeah. Do you know how hard that is to get? Do you know how many like scientists I had to like bribe?
Weapon X is expensive to enroll your kids in.
Yeah. You were very, very insistent about it. Your father had to work extra nights at the plant, but now you have them, so I hope you take care of them. I will. So that's the flash.
And scene.
And scene. My Oscar reel should be in the post. I know I've missed the season by about 3 weeks, but yeah.
Best podcast bit could be a category.
Absolutely. We should be shooting for that. But yeah, so...
But I think what's interesting about this is something which I didn't really think of. Doctor Octopus is such a ludicrous idea, and he's often represented as just the mad scientist who wants to take over the world for some reason. That I didn't really realise until I was reading more of the comics, that he's meant to be this kind of mirror image, in a way. And not in the obvious way in which, like, Venom is.
But in, like, the inner, like, Peter Parker kind of way.
Yeah, it's just like, here's someone who came from a similar sort of background as Peter, but instead of having an Aunt May and an Uncle Ben, he just had shitty parents.
Yeah.
And instead of being bullied by other people and then making the selfless action of still helping them and doing the right thing, he goes, well, you know what, I'm smarter than you guys, so screw you. And it's just like almost like the dark path he could have gone down, and that's what kind of makes him interesting, and why I think having him introduced as someone who taught him science at a young age is an interesting idea.
It's a juxtaposition right way.
Yeah, because you can see, and even at that point, like, we don't know what he's internally like at that point, but he seems like a nice guy, and you think, oh, well, obviously he's gone down this path, which we'll learn a little bit more about later.
But what's really interesting, actually, is, like, if you look at him, look at Venom, like, you know how they're meant to be, like, on the surface of it, they're probably more powerful than Spider-Man, but, like, both of the times, Peter Parker is what shines through. It's, like, a really interesting way of, like, showing that, like, Peter Parker is what makes Spider-Man, not the other way around. And it's kind of something that's repeated a bit later on in the episode, actually.
Well, Octavius has now, like, taken Felicia to his secret lair at some warehouse.
Yeah.
And that's where he launches into his own little flashback, where he's talking about how he was creating a cold fusion reaction in a battery.
I mean,
sure. Yeah, and he couldn't get funding anywhere. People were laughing at him for some reason.
Because, he was trying something.
He ends up getting a grant from the Hardy Foundation. And during his work, he would use these mechanical arms to be able to, like, work with dangerous materials.
Yeah.
But eventually the grant gets cut off because he's taken too long to make it. So ends up going from, like, a really expensive lab to just, like, in a basement.
A random basement somewhere.
Yeah.
How did he like the mechanical arms? Are they his own mechanical arms?
I guess he just made them himself.
Yeah.
But
sell the patent for that and get loads of...
Yeah, it's pretty good,
Yeah. The movie makes this mistake as well, going like, just those, like, mechanical arms, like, I just use to control my mind. But don't worry about that, because look at this energy source.
Well, to be fair, the energy source is way better, because I could, like, change the entire world.
Everyone doesn't bat an eyelid at these, like, mechanical arms he controls with his brain.
Yeah.
He makes a chip, like, it makes sure that he doesn't get controlled by them.
Or maybe it's, like, an ego thing, because he's just kind of like, well, this is my baby. I'm doing this big thing that's for the world, but, like, these things are mine. Yeah. They're, like, something cool.
This is how I can sleep at night.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
But either way, he gets... he says that as well as, like, having to move to this basement, he can't really afford any safeguards anymore because he's just in a basement.
Yeah.
So he is rushing through this procedure and ends up breaking something. A leak happens, leading to an explosion.
The building explodes and the entire building lands on top of him.
He just about gets out, but these arms now, like, fuse to his spine.
That doesn't really make sense to me. Like,
the thing is, though, I feel like you can't say this doesn't really make sense as a supervillain or superhero origin. You know, like, the Flash was struck by lightning. you know.
But that's
Like-
like super powered. Like, yeah, fair enough.
What,
But
it's
explosions
comic
don't do that.
it's comic book science. Come on, like I mean, there's
This
no
is pushing it a little bit.
none of these make any sense. It's only because so far how does like radiation plus reptile DNA turn you into a lizard man?
But back when he was conceived, like, no one knew what radiation was. They were just like, yeah, sure, it gives you powers. Not cancer. Powers.
Well, that's what all these things are.
Yeah.
They all involve radiation somehow. Because all that 60s stuff, they're always like,
Terrifying.
radiation is a scary thing.
Yeah.
So let's just add radiation to anything, and some shit's gonna go down.
But yeah, Doctor Octopus just had like an explosion. Like,
I think it's a radioactive explosion.
okay, I can live with that. If it was a regular explosion,
Oh,
I'd be like,
he's doing like a nuclear fusion
oh,
thing.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
well, he's saying, oh yeah, but it's still like nonsense.
No,
It's just like, no, you drop the word like
Radiation.
nuclear or radiation. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
I can buy that. If
It's
it's
a
regular,
buzzword.
yeah.
He wasn't just like, oh, I'm just gonna put this dynamite in the right hole. Oh no, it blew up and I have arms.
Like
now.
Wiley Coyote. That's what I was kind of thinking. Like, how does an explosion like fuse something to your spine without like crippling you?
Also, yeah, none of it makes sense. It's fine.
You
You gotta go with it.
I've got to just roll
You
with
got
this.
bit by a spider. He's got spider powers.
I mean, it's a wild ride from there.
Yeah.
Let's just roll with that. So yeah, he's got these mechanical arms. He's angry at the world, and in that moment, Doctor Octopus was born. I love how like he gives himself the name Doctor Octopus, because in the movies, the newspaper does it because that makes much more sense. But he's like, no, I'm really gonna like lean into these mechanical arms.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we'll get into it a little bit later, but in the comics as well, he doesn't come up with the name.
Yeah.
So even in like 1963, they were like, he's not gonna come up with this himself.
That would be stupid.
Yeah.
But like, I love how like resilient you'd have to be. Like, imagine like being in an explosion and having these mechanical arms like fused to your spine and going, this gives me a really catchy name now.
I kind of buy it because there is this just insanity clause that works with all
Mhm.
these villains. It's like with Alistair Smythe,
Yeah.
like he's insane, it's fine. With this, it's just you figure out he's spending years of his life trying to develop something, and he's just shunned by the scientific community at every turn. He has to do it by himself. He's in horrible conditions, and then he's on his last legs, and then he gets bloody blown up.
Yeah.
And then a fuse to his spine, and he's like, this is what I get for pursuing my dream. Maybe you just, at that point, something snaps and you go, fuck it, I'm Doctor Octopus, let's take over the world. Who gives a fuck? I tried doing something nice,
And this
and
is
look
what
where,
I
look where it got me.
I literally have these mechanical arms sealed to my spine. It's actually kind of like catchy as well, like Doc Ock, right way. Like, it's some good marketing. And like, I'm actually
Well, he doesn't come up with Doc Ock, though. I think that's like, he's like, it's Doctor Octopus,
Octopus.
man. Like, don't call me Doc Ock.
No, it's yeah. I guess that's much like more like.
Otto Octavius is not the kind of guy who's like, you sit down with and you're like, oh, hi, Doctor Octopus. He's like, call me Doc Ock, man.
Yeah.
Chill out. Just like,
Shut up, bro. I smoke a J.
yeah. Doctor Octopus was my father's name.
Please, just call me Otto.
But anyway, we're going back to like, we cut to like a TV studio,
Yeah.
which we were kind of wondering this a bit before when Eddie Brock was broadcasting on a TV like network trying to unmask Spider-Man a few episodes back.
Yeah.
It looks like, as well as the Daily Bugle, Jonah has a TV station as well.
He just kind of goes on and has this like InfoWars thing going on
And it's called, oh my god, I just realised, it's called J3.
for JJJ.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
J3 Communications. And I thought it was just, oh, he's just putting the J in there, but literally it's like J to the power of 3.
Yeah.
J cubed.
J cubed. The 3 J's of communications. But no, yeah.
I thought you could have riffed what the 3 J's were.
Yeah.
But I can't. Jingoism.
Justice. And
Jamiroquai.
Jamiroquai. With special guest Jamiroquai. So every like show he has like 3 different J's. So like, he's got like James Blunt, Jamiroquai, and
I like that idea that he's he has a show every week. He comes on, he's like Conan or something.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he starts off, okay, let's just talk about our country, a bit of jingoism here and there.
Yeah.
And then he goes into Justice, where he's like going on about stopping Spider-Man for like half an hour. And then he's like, to close off, we got Jamiroquai. They've been here every week for the last 10 years.
Please, man, let me see my family. Shut up and play.
Yeah, that's canon. That's canon.
That's canon. And like every different like show, he has like different guests beginning with J. So he's got like Jesse J. He's got Jermaine Jackson for some reason.
Jermaine Jackson.
The most famous of the Jacksons.
Yeah.
Probably go for Janet Jackson first. Don't we? Like,
or the Jackson 5.
No, Jermaine Jackson specifically, because he's the one everyone wants to talk to.
Jermaine Jackson. I don't know what's better, Jamiroquai or Jermaine Jackson.
He's got like a jellyfish for some reason, like stinging him throughout that movie.
I like the idea that Jonah loves Jermaine Jackson so much that you can imagine his personality. He's like, I'm the one who's right here. He's going to be the star. That's what the people want.
Yeah. What's his name from the NAACP? Jesse Jones. Quincy Jones can be there.
That's not Jay.
But second name is Jay. That counts.
Yeah, but he's not going to be like, hi, I'm Jones Quincy.
Well, for the purposes of the show, James Franco could be there.
I think it should be all Jays.
Yeah. That's like cutting down like his like guest list considerably. That's like 10 episodes worth of guests.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to get like creative with it. Not that many J's, man. Jellyfish, jamming, Judaism.
Well, we don't know his religion. It could be.
He just talks about being Jewish. Yeah.
Jingoism.
Jingoism, justice, and Judaism.
Yeah, why not? But then that could be an actual thing that maybe someone out there is doing.
Yeah.
I prefer Jamiroquai, because it's just no one's coming up with that shit.
Yeah, like no one's coming to Jamiroquai. Even he's surprised to be there. He's like, fuck, really? Like, I've been relevant since 2009, man. Are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm J3 sure.
J3 is actually a really like 90s thing as well.
Yeah, like J3.
He's rebranded himself.
In a very like, extreme 90s way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's on J3. Jamiroquai's coming later, but before that...
Well, it's a special edition of the show because he's just starting it off with "Fuck you, Doc Ock" as his main message.
What would you call that in the segment? Like...
Paging Doctor Octopus.
Yeah, but it has to have a J-themed name, doesn't it?
Alright.
I'm making you commit to this. And
what, you're trying to make me think of a sea life pun.
That's what I'd like to do, but like, it's not really that important. Like, you can just explain...
He's doing this televised message for Doc Ock where he's saying, we got your ransom, we're going to concede to your demands, just don't hurt Felicia.
Yeah.
And the phone starts ringing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, this might be him. And then Robbie kind of comes over and is like
massages his shoulders.
Yeah, he's like, dude.
Don't fuck this up.
Yeah, calm down, like, don't lose your cool. And then Jonah is like, I'm not going to lose my cool. And you know 100%.
He's going to lose his shit.
Yeah, he's going to lose his shit immediately. And then Doc Ock comes online. Sorry.
he answers the phone.
Doctor Octopus locks in.
His status is set to open and online.
Yeah, he comes on and talks, but he wants to stay on the air. He wants everyone to hear it.
He just wants to hear the sound of his own voice, really.
Yeah, he just wants everyone to know it's him. He's just kind of playing with them, but saying, sacrifices need to be made in the name of science and all this shit. And it kind of pisses Jonah off.
I don't even understand why.
He just starts getting angry. I think it's because he's implying that Felicia is in danger. And that's when Jonah goes on this huge rant at him. He calls him a 6-armed squid. And then he says, you're the symbol of everything wrong with this country as well. Which is weird to say to a man with a thick German accent.
Feels very like jingoistic.
Yeah, exactly. You did get it in.
Yeah.
You 6-armed squid?
No, Jonah, no.
You're a symbol of everything that's wrong with this country.
J. Jonah Jameson, the great communicator.
And you see like, Robbie Robertson on the side going, oh, shit.
Yeah. And he starts calling him a coward and saying, you just kidnapped a helpless girl. That's kind of the justice.
Yeah.
And then you got Jamiroquai on the sidelines like, oh, shit, it's this hard time. He's done the 2 J's.
It's a time, man. Imagine, like, he was, like, having this intense, like, ransom call about this K-pop girl. Jamiroquai starts playing. Like, not now, Jamiroquai. It's like, but you had the 2 J's, man. It's my time.
Literal insanity. Come on, guys.
Yeah, come on. He bites his tongue, Jamiroquai. And Doctor Octopus loses. He gets upset because he's been, like, hounded on, like, a phone for no reason.
Yeah.
Smashes the phone with his, like, robotic arm.
Well, first he says, okay, like, if you're calling me a coward, you can come deliver the ransom yourself.
Calls his bluff.
Yeah, which obviously freaks Jonah out. And he also says he'll fax instructions over, which
dates
like,
the show.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely. But I don't know, it's really funny the idea Doc Ock having this warehouse with this all secret operations, so he's like a little fax machine.
Yes, he uses robot arms to like use a fax machine.
Yeah.
Can it work a fax machine? She just like, oh,
Wait,
shit.
it must do. I mean, what are you going to do if you can't use a fax machine in the nights?
No, you gotta like just hand deliver everything.
Yeah.
Like, do we get like a shot of him like waiting by the fax machine, going like, "It's coming," just like slowly printing out these like ransom demands?
No, but we do get a much better way of communication much later on, which we'll get to. But in the meantime, Jonah heads over the money. Spider-Man just sort of stalks in the hallway to see what's going on. He delivers the money, but Spider-Man like intervenes and kind of fucks things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he kind of gets his ass immediately kicked, and then Doc Ock is now like, well, now I've got 2 hostages, I want twice the money. Yeah. See you later. Throw Spider-Man through a window, and he lands in the... So far, he lands in the...
It's a decent throw. Like,
yeah, he throws him into the river.
Like, Spider-Man's, what, 6'3"? Like, he's, like, 200 pounds? Imagine how hard you have to throw him to get him through a window. It's not even, like, on the same floor. It's like a warehouse window. It's, like, up there.
He throws him so far that he, like, immediately swims back and runs into the room, like, I got you! And then there's just no one there, and he's like, oh, shit.
God damn it.
And it's kind of a huge fuck-up on his part now, because... He heads back to Bugle and immediately gets shit-talked by both Mrs. Hardy and Robbie.
And, like, it really hurts him when Robbie's, Robbie's hurt. You can tell both people are like, oh, shit, man. I believed in you.
It's not, like, 100% his fault, but it's also you can understand that, because it's like, well, we sent to give this money in.
You came in out of nowhere.
Yeah, you came out of nowhere to just start fighting, and then now, like, this other guy's being kidnapped and we have to spend twice as much money. And this kind of bums him out, so he just swings home to just mope in his room.
It's like sadly swings home.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt Robbie.
Yeah, it's kind of... That is actually a huge bummer, because, like, Robbie's, like, the one, like, completely sane person in the show. Yeah.
He's trying to be like the voice of reason, like, the sergeant JJ's shoulders, saying, like, don't do the crazy thing you're going to do. Obviously, he does it, but he's, like, disappointed in Spider-Man. He's, like, a father figure that, like, he doesn't really, like, acknowledge or even, like, realise a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's kind of in all the mediums he's in.
Yeah, he's just kind of there, like, Parker. It's okay.
He does that in the movies as well, doesn't he? Because he's just there. I remember just, like, my heart breaks every time I see that guy.
Yeah.
He's just, it's fucking Radio Raheem, I think.
Is it?
You know, from Do the Right Thing.
I've not seen Do the Right Thing.
Oh, okay.
But I know of Do the Right Thing.
Right, okay. Yeah. But anyway, that's the side thing. But every time they cut to him, it's always like, oh, Spider-Man's quit, and just cuts to Robbie looking really sad, like, oh, I liked Spider-Man. And then Peter's like, oh, fucking Robbie. Shit, I gotta be Spider-Man against Robbie. Yeah.
He goes in to give him a hug, and he's like, what are you doing, Parker? He's like, shh, don't worry about it.
I'd want to hug that Robbie.
Yeah.
I want to hug all the Robbies.
But no, Robbie Robertson is disappointed with Spider-Man, who swings home sadly. And he has like a little, like, soul search in his bedroom.
At which point he realises maybe it's Peter Parker who sorts this out, not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Maybe if I just run and start punching things, it might not work.
Otherwise known as the Zack Snyder method. And we know how that goes.
At the Bugle again, this is my favourite, maybe my favourite bit in the episode, where Robbie sprints into the room. He's like, a videotape was delivered, and he puts it in the machine, and it's just a short videotape of Felicia and Jonah being tied up and sort of screaming a bit.
Yeah.
And then Doc Ock just saying, I will call you at 10 o'clock. That's the message that he's recorded onto a videotape, sent to them. They've sprinted to put it in. And then immediately after hearing the message, the FBI man just goes, that's in 2 minutes. So
he's completely pointless in this show.
Yeah, well, I think there's 2 options here, which is one, either Doc Ock was being so precise that I'll deliver this, that will say I will ring at this time, and it has to arrive and be played by them, you know, within this exact time frame, because I'm going to call 2 minutes after they get this package.
He's like timing it like, okay, go.
And the other option is that was just sat on their in pile. Yeah. Like, for like a whole day.
Like an intern's gotten fired because of this.
Yeah, and then Robbie's just like, there's a videotape here that says, from Doctor Octopus.
Maybe I should deliver this.
Michael!
God damn, you're fired, Michael. Man, like, this is the last straw.
So they then expecting this call, but Peter turns up and he's like, convinces them all, like, no, let me do the talking.
The FBI agent is still useless. He's wearing sunglasses.
Well, he kind of goes, no, don't do that. And then like, yeah, sure, do that.
Why not? Yeah.
Because he's just like, I'll talk science with him, man.
Yeah.
Be 2 science bros.
Yeah. What do you guys know about science? That's what I thought.
So he just talks to him on the phone, and he just plays up to his ego. Says like, I've read all these papers you did, all of which are about fusion,
Yeah.
basically. And then Doc Ock's like, oh, have you heard about this new thing I'm doing? You know, this cold fusion battery shit? Peter's obviously like, no.
You haven't talked about it before.
Yeah, so he's like, well, I tell you what, you can deliver the ransom money and I'll like show you around while you're here. So that's how he gets his in to the secret lair, which is just seems like some warehouse, but it's actually like mentioned to be an abandoned rocket assembly plant.
Which is important later.
Yeah, it's also, I feel like that kind of stuff shouldn't be abandoned. That's super dangerous.
Well, there's a kind of functioning rocket just left here gathering dust. Also, how many like rocket assembly like plants are there in New York?
Yeah, maybe do that a little bit further out of the city.
Yeah. So we've got this giant like rocket that could explode at any moment. Like what, 300 yards from maybe a Starbucks?
He heads in and gives the money over, but Doc Ock is like, no, I gotta show you all my shit.
Look at my shit.
Yeah.
But, like,
he's just jumping around like James Franco, pointing at his stuff.
Look at all this and this. But like, what's interesting about like the way that Peter kind of like treats Doctor Octopus in this, the way the not the shots, but the way the scene is kind of framed, like Doctor Octopus kind of like extended an arm, like you see that Peter like shit himself throughout every one of these scenes, but like, oh fuck, he's gonna fuck me up. But I go past him and I pick up a teacup.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit.
You think like he's still just a regular guy, so the fact that he can get his ass handed to him is entirely because of these arms.
Yeah.
So it's just like one incredibly strong weapon that he's got in his hand, so it would scare the shit out of you.
Yeah. And like he's using it just to do casual things like pick up a briefcase or like push a button. But every time he does it, like you kind of think, oh no, he's gonna get like his ass kicked by this arm, and it kind of just goes past him. And I really like the way that like he kind of built the suspense. Like the whole like way Doctor Octopus is in this episode is very like horror movie-esque, I think. Yeah. So like he's fucking around with things. He's like, look at my shit. Look at my shit, Spider-Man or Peter. We don't know Spider-Man.
You just sound exactly like Spider-Man. It's really weird. Yeah, that's
Has
the one
anyone
thing.
ever told you this?
The only medium they can get away with that in is the comics and maybe the Sam Raimi movies. In the comics, they do bring up his voice is slightly muffled.
Yeah.
So they even have bits where he's talking on the phone and he's got to be Spider-Man, so he just grabs his mask and holds it to his mouth so he can muffle his voice slightly. And then in those early Spider-Man movies, his voice is kind of a bit muffled when he's wearing, because they've actually got Tobey Maguire wearing the mask.
So he's suffocating.
Whereas now I imagine
Tom Holland just had like a voiceover afterwards.
yeah, because it's like, why not? And they're going to CG the eyes anyway, so...
They might as well do that in post.
Anyway, getting back to this rocket assembly plant.
Which is just abandoned.
Yeah, he's talking about this fusion reactor thing he's making, and he says basically it's got the power to end poverty, and you think, holy shit, if he's not talking shit, this is actually a big deal, because he says it's a fairly small object, but he says something twice its size would be the same as a dozen nuclear power plants, which is ludicrously efficient. So that would actually have the power to change the world. But of course he's like, well, yeah, but that would be my power.
Not yours.
That would be something I would distribute, you know.
But like, to be honest, like, so the question I have now
Scorpio.
But the question I have now is like, if you're the Hardy Foundation, why would you pull funding for that? Oh no, he's taking too long to change the world, so I pull his funding.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's too busy like buying yachts, so I don't think she knows what she's doing. She's like, this sounds cool, and then he takes like 2 weeks, and she's like, I'm bored. But I could change the world. No, I need to buy another yacht. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe she pulled the funding from him just to buy the yacht.
Yeah, that's like yacht money that he's like squandering.
Yeah, she should have paid him in yachts.
No wonder he's pissed off.
Yeah, because if you're like, I can save the world, and then
someone's like, I'm gonna buy some yachts, man.
Yeah, then you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna be Doctor Octopus. I'm gonna rule the world because everyone else is so stupid. So it can be frustrating as a normal person.
Let her know if you have like full mechanical arms.
Well, no, I mean like if you're, I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking that in everyday life, sometimes you see some news or something, and you're like, God, people are so stupid. But imagine if you were like that, but you were like a genius. Yeah. Then you'd be even more frustrated.
You'd be like, infuriated. And like, this is a bit of a tangent. Like, aren't like people with higher intelligence also like more likely to suffer from depression and stuff like that because they just realize how shit the world is, and they're like, oh shit, if only I had some like giant robotic arms to help me like change the world. Yeah. I'm assuming I'm not smart, so.
Well, I've never really thought about the idea of Doctor Octopus suffering from mental illness.
Just
At least not
crippling
that
depression.
kind of mental illness.
No, yeah, like maybe like something like a bit more unconventional, a bit more like there's got some delusions about him. I think. I'm not like
He's a megalomaniac. He's
is that like a
narcissist.
or maybe not? Yeah, narcissistic personality disorder, but like maybe it just means he's really insecure on the inside. Maybe all he needs
Well,
is a hug.
he's definitely insecure because they always just play
Yeah.
on his ego.
Maybe like he just needs a hug. Just to someone tell him he's good enough.
Well, going with his insecurity, that comes up in a second, actually.
Yeah.
But before that, Felicia makes a really, like, out of nowhere inappropriate joke by
Yeah.
saying that, oh yeah, that Doc Ock reminds me of Flash Thompson. All hands.
She's about to die, as far as she
Yeah.
knows.
I mean, it's kind of awesome that she's just, like, dropping these innuendos when she's, like, on the edge of death.
talking shit about Flash and how terrible he is as a lover.
The other guy who's also all hands is being asked by Peter to, can you, like, actually let these guys go? We gave you the money. No, thanks for the tour, but
Yeah.
come on. And then he just goes, I'm just going to break that promise. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah.
I'm just going to break this promise. Who cares? And then
Looking like pointedly at Felicia as he does it.
and then he calls it a perk of power, which is kind of awesome way to put it, actually.
Yeah. I can just do what the fuck I want.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of, it kind of actually tracks as a horrible character arc of
Yeah.
him kind of suffering because he had no power, and now he's got a bit of power where he's got these arms which are kind of,
Give him a lot of power, a lot
Yeah.
of yeah.
and he's got this, and he's got the ability to maybe like get some money and get this energy going and it rule over people. He's like, well, this is the way the world works.
It's like the opposite of like the great power, great responsibility thing before. He's like, I'm not going to be responsible for this at all. I'm just going to use my power. And yeah, as Kanye
Yeah,
West said, that one man should have all that power. And I think this is
exactly.
why.
Share those arms out.
Yeah.
Give everyone one arm
Yeah. That's
But-
like 4 people with like one arm. That's
with one tail.
one tail.
But Peter at this point gets kind of annoyed, and then he definitely plays on this sort of insecurity, maybe not on purpose, but he says, like, you know, I'm no longer your student. There's nothing more you can teach me, which obviously
sets him
like
off.
is gonna piss him off
Yeah.
because you're basically saying like, I know as much as you, which is not good for someone who thinks they're the smartest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
So he just grabs him and just like, he doesn't throw him out the window. He just like, he literally just drops him.
Yeah.
And the funny thing here is that it's from quite a height. He's probably broken some bones, if not
Died.
Yeah, like fatally injured somehow. And Jonah immediately says, even Parker didn't deserve that.
Even Parker didn't deserve that.
It's like your employee might just be dead, and you're like just using the immediate aftermath to just shit on him.
Yeah. Like I was an asshole, but not that much of an asshole. He deserved a dignified death.
And I don't know why he wouldn't. Why does he not like him at this point as well? All he's done is just like give him pictures.
Yeah. Like do his job and do it well.
But this gives him an excuse to change into his costume and swing back in
Yeah.
and start up fighting. And during the fight, he actually like does a little science lesson as he's swinging around.
Yeah, he goes like Bill Nye the Science Guy as he's like dodging like tentacles, being like, so a dynamo is this.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh fuck, yeah, so what if we do this, what we do this? It should subdue the octopus. Ow, my face, he punched me in the face, ow! And he operates an electromagnet, I believe.
Well, he's talking about how like, well, with coils that and a current, you can make a magnet or like an electromagnet.
Yeah.
And so he turns like, operates a switch to turn the magnet on to trap Doc Ock by like attaching
Yeah.
his arms to the magnet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as Jonah points out, oh no, you've turned on the rocket assembly line. So just, which it turns out is just going to blow like rocket fuel into their faces as
Yeah.
they're hung up. And
That's unfortunate.
yeah, so Doc Ock's like, oh, now you have a great choice to make.
Yeah.
And Peter's like, well, it's kind of obvious, and just turns it off.
He's like, if you turn this off, I'm gonna kick your ass. But if you don't turn this off, they're gonna die. And like, it's the first time that like Spider-Man's not only like matched physically, but like matched mentally as well.
Yeah, and that keeps happening as well throughout the fight.
It's a bit of a chess game as well as like a battle of like strength.
Yeah, because immediately when he goes off to save the hostages, it just turns the machine on again. Like,
Yeah.
okay, what? Good idea, thanks for it.
Yeah.
And turn that rocket fuel on again. That's when they start fighting again. Spider-Man shoots some webbing into his eyes.
Yeah, so like subdue him, buy him some time. He's like, what do I do?
It was just like a classic thing to do in a Doctor Octopus fight is shoot him in the eyes and he doesn't know what's going on.
Just troll him.
Yeah.
It's not gonna hurt him, it's just gonna like confuse him a bit and he's gonna be like, oh, that's Spider-Man.
I think it happens so many times that in one comic he ends up being like, haha, I've got goggles now where they don't stick to it.
Yeah. Because he has to like go out and rate new goggles because he's getting webbing in his eyes constantly.
Yeah, or just like wait like 2 hours for it to dissolve every time. Like, I can't see shit. And that's when he turns on the electromagnet thinking, I'll trap him with this. And then starts like shouting shit at him to like try and get him to come over. But then Doc Ock's kind of like, yeah, I know what you're doing. I'm not coming over there.
I can see the electromagnet.
Yeah,
like,
which is kind of awesome because, I mean, it's still...
It's something like what happened in a 90s cartoon, but like, this is how he acts as a villain. But like, Doc Ock is like in his brain. He's as smart as he is.
Yeah, but in the end, he manages to defeat him not really by outsmarting him, but by playing on his ego again because he just picks up the machine he's made. Like, well, you care so much about this one project of yours, like, go catch it.
Yeah.
Throws it over near the electromagnet, so he tries to catch it, gets caught by the electromagnet, where he's like magnetized and electrocuted, knocked out, and he's done for.
Like, so the rocket's coming in, it's about to like incinerate like Felicia and J. Jonah Jameson. Spider-Man frees them both and swings away, carrying like Felicia in his arm and grabbing like J. Jonah Jameson by the leg, swinging him around like a briefcase for the second episode running.
Yeah, it's like he has. I feel like, I don't know how he'd hold them, but I feel like there's a way.
He could have done it.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, but he doesn't want to. It's like, no, fuck you, man. I might drop you. You're gonna have to deal with it.
Then he realised that, I got to go change back into Peter Parker. So he just jumps. He just jumps backwards because
flails out the window.
There's one thing in the show that you notice now. Maybe I don't think I really noticed when I was younger or didn't think of it as an option, but they do
recycle a lot of like.
Yeah, because they can like, it's an easy way to save a bit of like production time and money, I guess, where you just reverse an earlier image, and they've just taken the clip of him being thrown out of the window earlier in the episode
and reversed it.
Yeah, so it's just him like basically being thrown out, but he's doing it on purpose. So he's instead like just flailing around and jumping backwards without looking out of the window. It's really weird.
It's absolutely glorious. It's like, yeah, I'll go change.
He goes outside and then he just like changes, buries himself in rubble for Felicia to find Peter Parker.
And Peter Parker's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. He has these like fuck me eyes as he does it.
Well, he immediately comes out and he's like, oh yeah, about that date. And he doesn't, for all they know, like Peter Parker doesn't know what happened at all. Like he should be like, oh my god, is Jonah alive? Like, what's going on? I heard fighting. What happened to Spider-Man? Is Doctor Octopus? Is he dead? What's going on? But instead he's just like, hey, pretty lady.
Let's go back to mine, right? And she's like, yeah, how'd you, like, are you okay? You fell from like 40 feet. It's like, I'm okay. I'm more than okay, baby.
You've got a concussion.
You've got a concussion. Or have I got like a concussion of love? That doesn't make any sense, Peter. Yeah, I should probably go to the hospital.
But then we're getting to Doc Ock in prison.
Like being held by like those four like things with his arms.
Yeah, his arms are all held at different corners of the room.
Yeah. And like he has like a particular like supervillain thing of like, they haven't seen the last of Doctor Octopus, and he starts to laugh. I think he's done, but he probably like gets into it.
Yeah, he goes proper insane.
Yeah,
maniacal laugh.
Yeah, and you can hear it echo through this empty prison.
Yeah,
and it's very Saturday morning cartoon, and I think that's how it ends.
Yeah, that's the ending.
Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. Not against the genius of Doctor Octopus.
What did you think of this episode, Jack?
I thought it was good. The last episode we covered set the bar kind of high because I was just laughing through so much of the last episode, and this definitely wasn't as entertaining. But I do like Doc Ock as a villain. Yeah, as like a physical threat and a mental threat, and I do think now that we've talked about it, I'm realizing, they did stuff with his personality that I do like. Yeah, he actually has like a proper motivation beyond like mistaken revenge and or like failed experiment. And while it is fairly simple supervillain stuff, it's consistent and it's in character motivation that it's just like written pretty well. So yeah, I mean it's kind of like the kind of episode you would expect from introducing this guy to the fold. And like it's a lot like not darker but more serious, and like other episodes before have kind of been like Spider-Man's having great fun, but here it's very much like he's actually got to be responsible here.
You know, he's got to like learn a lesson, and he makes a wrong decision initially, but eventually he kind of goes like, maybe it's not about punching things, but then he does eventually.
I guess he does learn that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because it's even when you can see it when you were saying about how when he's getting freaked out at the tentacles moving around him. Part of that is it's creepy as fuck, but also it's probably a bit of just being used to. Yeah, I'll dodge under that arm and punch him in the face. You know, like he's in fight mode and he's like, no, I'm actually gonna try and like
just be a coward.
Yeah, and also in terms of a fight, he can't beat this guy really, and in terms of outsmarting him, he can't really do that either. So it's proper like I need to go on another level where I'm like, okay, this is the personality of this guy. This is how I get an advantage.
Yeah, and like it's something that like a lot of like the show so far has kind of not really touched upon.
I think it's quite. You know what? I think with a lot of these episodes, I feel like 25 minutes would be like optimal. They always feel sometimes a bit like a few minutes shy of like, oh well, we now have to kind of a lesson is learned, the thing is over, let's kind of rush this finish.
Yeah.
Which is again fine for your Saturday morning cartoon, but I think it's where something like Spectacular Spider-Man had an advantage.
They did a lot more with the time they had. They had more time to work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I think this is like a interesting side of Peter Parker, which really interested to kind of see if we see that again. Because I don't know if like from now on it's going to be just him outsmarting or out fighting somebody, like it usually is.
Well, I imagine just the nature of being a 90s Saturday morning cartoon, there can't be like a huge amount of growth because all these episodes have got to kind of work on their own.
Very standalone, very like reset the clock kind of thing.
Yeah, and just maybe we will introduce certain things and things will change over time. But again, there are like definitely multi-part stories in the future, so I'm not sure. I'm really interested where this goes because again, like all these episodes so far have mostly been work entirely on their own.
Yeah, I think to an extent, maybe not this episode, but like any of the previous episodes could have been the first episode. If that makes sense. Well, that's not true. Like the first one, the second one, and maybe this one could all be like intro episodes.
I don't know if when I watched it when I was a kid, if I started with episode 1 and went all the way through. Maybe I did.
Remember, yeah.
But I also think that if you were a kid watching that, you would kind of just go with it. You're like, oh, that's the evil guy who wants to stop Spider-Man. He's angry about something. I'm not sure what. Who cares? He just said, you killed my father.
The thing about like Peter Parker like being like stronger than Spider-Man in this instance is something that kind of like gets glossed over a lot if you're a bit younger as well. Like, why isn't he punching? Why is he being a teenager? But it's something that's kind of like has a bit more like of a punch. Now you can kind of understand the character motivation a bit more.
Do you want to go into some origins?
Let's go some origins. Let's dive right in.
Doc Ock, like in this show, kind of comes in like quite early, like much earlier than another arch rival, the Green Goblin, who will come in like quite a bit later.
Yeah.
He's immediately coming in at Amazing Spider-Man 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah. Most of the origins for this guy are fairly similar, but this time he's actually called Doctor Octopus before any accident happens.
Why?
He's just because he's got the tentacles and he's just working with radiation, and the idea is
So they're just making fun of him.
well, he's working with radiation, but the idea is he can get really close because no one's going in this room with this radiation, but he's got like a lead shield that will just surround him as a person, and he will use the tentacles to actually fuck with stuff.
Yeah.
And that's all the work is just calling Doctor Octopus, and you don't really get a sense of whether he's cool with that or not, but later on he calls himself it, so I guess...
Yeah, I guess he's okay with it, or maybe it's one of those things where he's like, he was bullied with it before, he's kind of like adopted it now that like he got exploded and then...
Yeah, he's reclaimed it.
Yeah, he's appropriated it for himself. In a similar fashion to like rappers in the N-word.
Yeah, but less of a cultural thing.
Less
It's
of a
just
cultural-
one guy.
One guy, yeah.
That's when we lead to this amazing piece of dialogue coming from one of the other workers, who are probably the guys like, hey, it's Dr. Octopus, like, you know, making fun of him or something. Because this guy's dialogue is, look, the radiation meter has gone wacky. Something is wrong. There's going to be a blow-up. Literally, that's the line. And as they say that, they all run away, but it's like quite last minute, and he's still in there. So it just blows up.
Yeah.
And
Guys, go!
Yeah, so he's like taken to hospital, and they're like,
We fucked up, yeah.
those tentacles have been fused to you. This is an interesting thing. They say that he's got brain damage.
Really?
Yeah, and well, they say he might have some serious brain damage. I can't remember the exact line, but they say in the narration that his personality is different.
From an explosion.
Well, I mean, it is a thing of
Yeah.
like you can damage your brain and then it affects like
Your personality.
and your moods and stuff. And I think that's actually kind of an interesting take on why someone, just because like he already had the octopus arms,
Yeah.
so why would them being fused to him suddenly make him go, well, I'm gonna go take over the world? And the idea is, well, maybe he was always like maybe a bit egotistical and a bit of a jerk, but he's kind of gone a bit unhinged now.
Yeah.
Because his brain isn't right.
It's like the equivalent of like in the movie where like the chip explodes which controls his brain.
Yeah, which is just funnily enough like a simpler version
Yeah.
than those comics, which would make it more complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically because of this, he's kind of like acting like a bit of a jerk now, and they're like, stay in bed, you're hurt, and he's like, no, fuck you, and just breaks out of the hospital.
Bitch, I'm armed and dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
And
5 armed and dangerous.
you can, it's really simple. He's got 4 limbs, and then he adds 4, and he becomes an octopus man because he's got 8. And you're like getting confused with the numbers of things.
Yeah, it should be like, yeah, he's got 6 arms and 2 legs.
What? Well,
Yeah,
he's
6
got-
arms now.
No, he's got 4 arms.
No, he's got his regular
No,
arms.
he's got 6 arms, yeah.
Yeah, he's got 6 arms and 2 legs. That's right? I've got that right. I feel.
Yeah, but it's like they refer to it. He's got 4 robotic arms.
But he's got 6 arms
And
in
he's-
total.
No, but like an octopus doesn't have 6 arms. They have 8 legs.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he redefines his arms as legs. Maybe he becomes more like a chimp.
Yeah.
And starts like, because if you got that many limbs,
Yeah.
it's like
Just walks
which
around. Yeah.
way is up?
Where does he wear his trousers?
So stupid.
Like as part of like his like experiment, like
He still has eyes on his head.
putting like, jeans on his head and that.
Oh, but you can put on eyes sideways.
Yeah. He gives each of his tentacles like little like pairs of shorts.
So he's got 3 pairs of shorts on.
Yeah. His like trousers bill's off the charts. That's how he can't afford the funding anymore. Well, it's like special like shorts made for them because like if you got like tentacles, like you guys have like 2 and 2, wouldn't you? You have like one especially made like 4-legged like pair of shorts.
Well, they're kind of grouped, like there's just 2 on one side and 2 on the other, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay. So
Well,
like,
either way, he's got like if he wears like a shirt, he's got to make holes in it
Yeah.
every time.
so you just wear pants instead. That makes much more sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Like if you think about it, it makes a
But
little
well, only if he just like because it's not going to cover his
torso.
his abdomen at all.
Yeah. He's gonna
He's
wear
just-
just trousers stitched together.
He's permanently wearing a crop top.
Yeah.
And maybe you know what? This explains why he puts on the green and yellow armor.
Because normal clothes don't fit him
Like,
anymore.
he tried the shorts thing for like hours
And
and
it
it
just
realized it
looks
didn't
stupid.
work. So he just goes, you know what? I'm gonna make a super suit
He
that's
got-
specifically made for fighting spider people.
He got kicked out of like H&M by security for taking too long.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you doing there, sir? You've been there for 4 hours. He's like, just give me a second. Do you have this in a size 12?
But in the original comic,
Does he wear underwear with those shorts, do you think? Like,
why?
is he going
Why
commando?
would he? Well, it's not commando. There's no.
so how many... So he has like one dick, right? Isn't it like robotic dicks as well?
Well, I don't know. No, we see him with his shirt off.
Yeah. So he's got like the regular amount of dicks that like a human being should have.
He's not that crazy.
I mean, like, he's a bit crazy.
He's crazy enough. I mean, that's what would happen if someone like the kangaroo got 4 extra arms. He'd be like, where are the dicks?
I've got to have more dicks. But even though arms wouldn't translate to dicks,
Oh, wait, yeah, it's not legs, is it?
it's arms.
Right. They should all be legs. Well, you were talking about shorts. You don't wear shorts on your arms.
But those are technically his legs because he's an octopus.
Yeah, the arms are legs now.
I mean, that makes perfect sense.
This is where it made more sense with the Spider-Man 2 version, where it's just Jonah being like, this guy's got 8 limbs. He's Doctor Octopus.
Yeah.
Amazing title of our article. That makes sense because it's kind of like, let's jump on this quirk of this guy to make a headline.
Yeah.
Rather than, yeah. Later on, actually, they do get more accurate. Because there's
Jesus
a point.
Christ, what?
There's a point in the comics, like way down the line, like
So they have like little feet on them instead of like
no,
claws.
not that. Oh no, I don't mean the arms themselves become more accurate.
Foot-like.
No. At one point he gets so like I won't go into it too much because it's going to go on forever. But there's a point in time where he's really sick.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the proper use of his actual arms and legs. So he kind of has his arms crossed and his legs tied together because his body's almost useless, and he does everything with his arms, his mechanical arms. Yeah. And he plugs in an extra 4. So then he is an actual like Doctor Octopus and is actually accurate, but he actually has 8.
My question now is, how does he take a shit with like no working arms or legs?
He's a genius. He figured it out. Maybe he has like a scientific equivalent of that J.K. Rowling wizard thing where they shit their pants and use like a spell to teleport the shit away. Did you miss that?
I've not read Harry Potter, so this is...
What? It's not in the book. It's like, you know how she just adds things.
Oh yeah. On Twitter, she's like, yeah.
Yeah, or like on, was it Pottermore? I'm not a big like Harry Potter guy, but this was a big thing going around because everyone was like, why do you now have to canonically add that all these wizards are shitting themselves because they use magic?
That just seems like a lot of work just to use a toilet.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe that's what this guy's got sorted out.
Yeah.
But that's way, way, way in the future. But
it's a confusing question.
That's almost 600 issues away from the issue we're talking about, which is The Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Not 603.
Yeah. And after he escapes, he starts trying to get his work going again. And he's going a bit crazy, so he's just like kidnapping people so that he can get back to his work and breaking into the facility.
Yeah.
Spider-Man hears about this, goes after him, immediately gets his ass kicked. Actually, not that dissimilar from the way he does in this, because he's thrown out of a window as well. Not into water or anything, but he's just, the shit's beating out of him, and he gets thrown out, and he's just kind of on the ground, and he has like a breakdown over it, because he's like, it's like the first guy he can't... I think up until that point, he's either defeated people the first time round, or he has fought them and they've gotten away. Yeah. And then he's got them the second time. But this guy just kicked his ass straight away.
Beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, so after this point, it gets a bit confusing what exactly Doctor Octopus is trying to achieve here, but he goes and breaks into the same facility, seals it off so that the authorities can't come in, and just takes control of this nuclear plant and just says, like, I'm just going to destroy part of this, just to kind of show my power, and then I'll be able to rebuild it.
So there's a lot of work for no reason.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of going a bit nuts and just being like, yeah, I'm fucking amazing, no one can stop me. Like, literally no one is even trying to storm this building right now because they know I'll fuck him up. But Spider-Man does kind of get his confidence back, and then he sneaks in, he whips up this like chemical, which he then, during a fight, hits his arms with, so that's like an acid that like fuses some of the arms together, and because of that he can get in close and just punches him.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah, just one punch and he's out.
Yeah.
Because he's still a guy.
It's just some dude with like mechanical arms.
Yeah, which is the one, I mean, I love Spider-Man too, but that's the one thing that Alfred Molina gets punched in the face like 600 times.
And he's just like, ow, my face.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's just his thing. And then he comes back so often. I think it's him and maybe Kingpin are the ones that just come back the most.
Because they're probably the most compelling villains, because they're not joke figures in any way.
Yeah, and Doctor Octopus goes to jail and stuff like once or twice, but a lot of the time there's so many issues where his plans are over.
Yeah.
But no one catches him, and he's just like, oh, well, fuck it, I'm out of here. And
That's
just like leaves, and then you're like, oh, he'll be back in like 15 issues.
Imagine Doctor Octopus at a trial. Like, so if he has like, if he has gone to Earth, like, which hand does he put in the Bible? Is like an octopus arm admissible?
He puts his foot on it.
Yeah, which leg does he put on it? Like, is a mechanical arm like admissible in court?
He probably puts it on there, and they're like, stop fucking.
Please stop fucking.
You know what we want you to do. Stop being an
asshole.
Yeah, stop being cute. And he's like, oh, you got me.
You got me. I guess I'll put my hand in the Bible.
But I mean, like happens in these early issues, I think he just gets let out of jail at one point. Like, he's just like, oh, you've served your sentence, you can go. Yeah. But he's like, he almost like, you know, he's fucking around nuclear materials, it's a big deal, but...
He's just doing crazy shit, yeah, it's the 60s, whatever. I kind of want to talk about Alfred Molina a bit more, I don't know if we should talk about that before or after the Weird Law bullshit corner. Alfred Molina was actually really on the Mark Maron podcast, I've forgotten its name, but like, he's talking about Spider-Man 2, and he's talking about, like, obviously, like, the tentacles were partly CGI, but they're also partly practical effects.
Yeah, which is a very Sam Raimi thing to do, like, just practical effects.
And I think it kind of helps with, like, the realism of, like, the entire costume. But the most interesting thing for me is how, like, each of the tentacles had a different actor. and each of the tentacles
Like a different puppeteer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they're all like acting independent of each other, like an octopus would. But the most important part for me is that they have different names.
Amazing.
Yeah. So do you want to know the names of these like different like octopus hands?
1000%, yes.
Okay. Before that, you should try and guess some of the names.
Skippy.
No.
Roy.
No.
Squidward.
I wish it would. Alright, are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So we've got 4 tentacles called Larry, Harry, Mo, and Flo.
Okay, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So those are like the different like arms of his octopusness. I don't know why I said it that way. I don't know why I said it that way. But no, that's what I wanted to contribute to like the pre-Weird Little Bullshit Corner.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember them so that we could refer to them each time.
Larry, Harry, Mo, and Flo.
Yeah. But which one's which?
Does it matter?
Which ones are paired up in the shorts? Or
They also like
jorts?
swap around. But it's like tight like lycra like jogging shorts.
Oh god.
Would Flo be okay with like wearing a pair of shorts? Would Flo want like a
Wouldn't
different?
it when you wear like leggings on them?
Yeah, like-
Because like think about it, they're metal.
Yeah.
They're gonna be cold.
Will they be cold? I thought it'd be hot because all the machinery's going on behind them, aren't there? So it'd be like they'd be whirring all around and stuff, and like, it'd get hot really quickly. So you want like proper like sportswear.
Well, I can't imagine it'd be that inefficient to be warm all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd have some way where maybe the thing around him is warm, but
Yeah.
the actual tentacles, like if you were to have touch with, oof, shit, that's cold as fuck.
Yeah. If they get cold, like obviously you'd like probably like long johns for each of them. Imagine if like different styles, like Flo doesn't like wearing denim, so like Larry has to like wear like corduroy or something.
Oh right, yeah, because they have to pair up still,
Yeah.
don't they?
Do like the tentacles have a favourite tentacle they have to hang out with?
They have to like each other.
I don't know, like
It's-
siblings
it's-
fight all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But then siblings get to leave the same house. They
Yeah.
get to fly the nest. These
Yeah.
guys.
They just stuck to each other forever.
I mean, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if there was some Spider-Man issue where they had their own independent personalities. If that isn't an idea already, someone is coming up with it right
Yeah.
now. Like, maybe we should do this next week.
And I have like Larry as like the joker of the team, and like Flo's very like driven and like ambitious. Mo's a bit of a fuck up, and then Harry's just like the valedictorian, like the quarterback of the team. Still like a hot girlfriend.
Is it like the setup of Breakfast Club?
Yeah,
Where there are all these different types of
like yeah,
cliches.
all looking attention together.
Yeah, the the teacher is Doctor Octopus.
Yeah,
He keeps looking down like, what are you doing? And they're
Yeah.
like, nothing.
nothing.
But they were dancing and smoking weed.
They're like penitent teenagers, like you're not my real dad.
Yeah.
No, I'd watch a family sitcom with like Doctor Octopus and his like tentacles. And
And
yeah,
the chimp.
yeah,
You know, bring the chimp back.
yeah. Like still with Steve Buscemi, who's been like
Maybe the chimp is brought in. There's all these siblings. They're living together. Everything's fine. But now this new guy's here, and he's a chimp, and they're like, oh god.
God.
It's like Buzz Lightyear coming in, and there's a bit of jealousy.
I thought like a season 5 thing where like ratings are down as they're going to bring in a new character, so they bring in a chimp,
Yeah.
like kind of like David Spade in 8 Simple Rules kind of thing.
Are you? That's really unfavourable comparison.
What for the chimp? Like
Shit. I'm sure he's heard worse.
yeah, he probably has.
Talking of weird bullshit.
Oh yeah, like, let's go to a corner and talk about some weird bullshit, Jack.
Yeah, some weird law bullshit. Even.
Ooh,
Um,
weird law bullshit corner.
And for this week, I had a few things I could have talked about, like different characters or something like that. But this time I thought I'd go with a storyline and keep it related
Oh,
to Doctor Octopus.
oh no.
And there's this one story which I think a lot of people might know.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, you'll be like very confused. But I knew about it for a long time, but I never read it until recently.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realised it's even weirder than I thought it was.
Okay.
In The Amazing Spider-Man 131, Aunt May
Oh no.
and Doctor
Oh
Octopus
no.
get married. They have a wedding ceremony.
Oh god.
I knew this because there's some weird It's just an image I've seen of this front cover.
There's definitely some fan fiction out there.
And you can see, I'll show you, and this will be in our episode notes, which I include in the description. But here's the front cover.
Oh, God.
And there's an amazing pun, because in the front cover, Spider-Man is interrupting the wedding between Aunt May and Doc Ock, and he's shooting a web at the Reverend as he's about to read out the vows.
Yeah.
He's reading out, and he says, "With this ring, I the web?" Which is kind of amazing.
That's pretty great.
And this whole issue is completely insane.
Why does he sing as a Spider-Man? It feels like, why would Spider-Man care about this random wedding?
I think it's just dynamic for the cover, but that scene actually does happen as well.
Oh,
it's such a ludicrous road to get to this point.
Oh, God.
But for those who don't know, there's a very strange thing going on between Aunt May and Doctor Octopus. Aunt May is always saying, "Oh, that awful Spider-Man," and it's always ironic because Peter's there and he's like, "Oh, she hates Spider-Man, but her nephew is Spider-Man."
If only she knew.
But to make things even more ironic, when the Sinister Six first appear, they end up kidnapping Betty Brant and Aunt May. But Doctor Octopus is kind of a gentleman to them while has them captured.
Yeah.
And even though there's all these superpowered criminals around them hanging out, and he's got these octopus arms, and he's already known as a terrorist, Aunt May's like, "What a polite man. He's so lovely."
If I wasn't tied up, I'd go and shake each one of his mechanical arms.
Yeah, and Betty Brant is like, "What are you talking about? He's a criminal. He's pretty much responsible for the death of my brother." And Aunt May's like, "But he's so nice.
Yeah.
He's so nice."
You wouldn't know that.
But he ends up getting arrested at one point and then just released from jail, at which point he has some more plans. And he's like, "Well, I need somewhere to lay low." So he just goes to Aunt May's house. Because Aunt May has put up Peter Parker's old room up for someone to rent, so looking for a lodger. And she turns up, she's like, "Oh, it's Dr. Octavius." I don't think she even says that. I think she's like, "Oh, it's Dr. Octopus. That's a friendly name."
Yeah.
But she's like, "Yeah, come on, stay." And then Peter comes around. He's like, Dr. Octopus is just in his house having coffee or whatever, and he's like, "You should call the police. This guy's nearly destroyed
He's literally
the
a
world."
terrorist.
Yeah, genuinely. I don't know why they let him out of prison, but she's like, "Oh, it's just fake news. It's just he's actually a really nice man. He's just misunderstood. He's very polite."
He'd be a good help around the house as well. Imagine having a guy with full mechanical arms to do your laundry, wash dishes and stuff
Well,
like
I
that.
think all he does is just be polite and then go to his room and then plot world domination during that period.
And she brings him milk and cookies sometimes.
It gets more ridiculous later on because there's a separate point where Aunt May is effectively being kidnapped and she's in his lair in Westchester in this big house. And because it's Aunt May, she doesn't realise that anything dangerous is going on or that there's this freeway battle going on next door
God.
between Doctor Octopus, Spider-Man and Hammerhead. Who,
Oh, shit.
if anyone doesn't know, Hammerhead is this old-timey gangster who has an adamantium plate in his skull. So he's got an unbreakable head that he can knock down walls with.
Yeah.
But they're all fighting and...
Why are they fighting?
I can't remember.
Are they having a disagreement and then Hamhead's being a bit hard-headed or something like that?
You didn't even want to know the answer, you just wanted to set yourself up.
Yeah. Yeah, that should have been obvious.
But they end up...
You probably edited a slide whistle here, by the way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Woo!
Yeah, or I could just edit in you doing that. But
yeah, I do want sound effects. I'm here all week, folks.
during this, it actually gets kind of dark because Spider-Man starts fighting him, and Aunt May's still like, "Oh god, that awful Spider-Man's after the innocent man once again." And she gets out a gun, shoots at Spider-Man at one point.
Oh shit!
It's kind of dark, and you're like, "Oh shit!" But at the end of the day, Doctor Octopus is apprehended by the police and taken away, and she's still like, "Oh, he did nothing wrong," and all the police are like, "He's a criminal. He's wanted in
several states."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a big deal. But before he goes in, Doc Ock wants to say one last thing to her.
Oh no!
So he whispers something in her ear. He's like, "Can you be my housekeeper? Can you look after this house while I'm in prison?" And because she loves him so much, she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." And it's all part of this elaborate scheme.
It's some kind of advanced Stockholm syndrome.
Well,
where she like falls in love with
it's
him.
this weird thing because she just becomes the housekeeper, and she's the housekeeper for several issues. She's just living in this house, but it's also around the same time that like Gwen Stacy dies. So it's this really it's really backgrounded. Like it's just like every now and again you get a phone call, but the story's not focusing on her at all because obviously that's more important.
Peter's like, my girlfriend's dead, and she's like, well, I'm dusting right now.
Yeah, exactly.
She'll come over and console you, but I've got some dusting to do. This house ain't gonna dust itself.
And then at one point, a lawyer says, "Oh, I've got to tell you something about your aunt." And he goes to meet this lawyer, and the lawyer's just shot and killed by a random hitman, and he doesn't know who did it. He's trying to figure that out, but doesn't come across anything. He gets into a fight with Hammerhead.
Again.
And Hammerhead...
Just like banging your head against the wall at this point.
And Hammerhead drops a letter which has Aunt May's name on it.
Oh, snap.
And so Peter's like, okay, what's going on here? Soon he investigates after he realizes something, and the viewer, the reader, you don't know what's going on, but he's like, oh no, this is what's happening. I better get to Doctor Octopus quickly.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, Doc Ock's out of prison again. Like, he just keeps getting let out.
He's got good lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just gone back to his house, and Aunt May's there. And for some reason, it's only at this point that Peter's like, well, I should probably check on my aunt. So he goes all the way up to Westchester and arrives at the moment where Doc Ock is about to get married, and they're all in a wedding dress.
Married?
Yeah.
There's no, Dr. Octopus, fucking his aunt?
What?
I don't know, like an implied sex scene or something like that.
Why would there be an implied sex scene in a Spider-Man comic?
Why is he marrying his aunt?
Well, okay, that's the thing. There's a reason behind this.
Because he's, mad horny for her, right?
He reads the letter, it's just a letter from Doc Ock in prison saying, me horny, Michael.
Me horny, mate. I'm touching myself with mechanical arms for you, mate.
But,
because, he must use it to masturbate.
Let's not go down this road. Why would you want that? Why would he want to do that?
Well, you get better grip strength, I'm assuming.
You want more grip strength?
I don't know, man.
I want to be able to crush my own dick.
You don't know how powerful it is? Oh god, I'm about to go down a hole. Just to let you know. But he's the cold mechanical arms. He's having sex with
With what?
With an exhaust pipe or something like that.
Yeah, well, you can do that.
But I don't have a car, so I can't do that.
The next step, I guess, I got to make some mechanical arms.
Yeah, but no, I would if I had mechanical arms strapped to my back, I'd try it at least once.
Yeah, but you probably touch it once and you go, no thanks, that's too weird.
This is gonna be a weird segue, but I'm pretty sure that's an episode of The Big Bang Theory.
What?
Where Howard gets his dick trapped in a mechanical arm. I genuinely think that's an episode of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, but it's not to do with masturbation or...
It's to do with masturbation.
What?
So he has a robot arm he kind of builds, and the next shot of him is him in the emergency room with the thing attached to his dick.
I didn't realise they got that raunchy on that show.
They got that pretty raunchy. I don't know. I don't know if I've dreamt this.
I hope you dreamt it. That would be so weird. Oh man, anyone out there who's a Big Bang Theory fan, I hope you
can remember this.
Yeah, I hope you go, that did not happen.
Please tell me I'm right. Please tell me I didn't dream this. Because
how embarrassing.
The thing is, it happens twice, I'm pretty sure.
Twice? How?
Do you know how
separate episodes?
But the same episode, but he goes back and does it later on. He's like, oh, how bad could it really... Oh shit, it's stuck again.
I guess that's what nerds do.
And Dr. Octopus is a nerd.
Yeah, I guess
Between having sex with an old lady and having sex with a robotic arm,
well, he doesn't ever. I don't think he ever has sex with Aunt May. Is what I'm saying.
She needs to have sex. How long has it been since she's had sex? Her husband's been dead for a long time.
Yeah, but she's also a very traditional person, so.
No, she's not having premarital sex.
Probably not. She's probably what a gentleman. He's waiting until after.
Okay, fair enough. So does he go through? Okay, I don't really know about
this whole storyline is so rushed and convoluted.
It sounds
and
insane.
multiple issues. So I read it recently, and there's still things I don't understand. She's getting married, and Peter doesn't know. Did I miss that?
Apparently so.
Or did that just not get told to him? Is Aunt May just that dumb?
I think she's just a bit of a terrible person. She seems to be pretty shitty to Peter at some point.
Yeah, but she's very easily won over by this very basic... Oh, he speaks properly and he's polite. He opens doors. He opens many doors
at once.
At the same time. He says, which door do you want to go through?
I just want to go to the bathroom. Well, here you go. And then you can go to the kitchen. I'm so bored.
Please give me some jars to open.
I can juggle. You want to see me juggle? And she's like, no.
I just want to watch my stories. Pass the remote.
Yeah, I said, remote. Well, what channel do you want? What volume do you want? I was like, just leave me alone, Octavius. I can make you an omelette really, really fast though because I have 4 arms.
Yeah, I can make 6 omelets.
It's a lot of eggs, but my cholesterol is kind of high. I made a frittata.
But before he can get to the frittatas, they're getting married. Spider-Man's outside the window, and he's like, I think he kind of has that thought that you had of like, well, what does Spider-Man have to do with stopping this wedding?
Yeah.
How do I get in there? And it's full of like goons as well. Like it's all his like underlings are there, like cheering him on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, get married to that
One of them's like crying.
Yeah, and they're all in there. And Spider-Man's like, well, fuck, what do I do right now? Before he has to make any decision, Hammerhead comes in.
Oh god.
Yeah, and he turns out that Hammerhead has discovered part of the truth, but not all of it.
So tell me there's a love triangle between like Hammerhead and Aunt May.
No, what he knows is he also tracked down Aunt May's lawyer. I'm not even sure if it was him or Doctor Octopus that had the lawyer killed to stop Peter finding out about it.
Yeah.
But basically, Aunt May is in line to get some big inheritance
From like a long-lost relative who somehow like...
A relative. It's just a relative.
Like, all her relatives must have died by now.
Either way, she's going to inherit something.
Okay.
And you get it if you're married to her, if she dies. So Doc Ock's like, presumably either gonna marry her and wait for her to die because it'll be 5 minutes,
Yeah.
or just kill her.
She's on death's door, like, he went and make it a ceremony.
But Hammerhead has this kind of rivalry with Doc Ock at this point, and he wants that inheritance too, so he's just like, smashing. I don't know what his plan is, whether he's gonna like try and marry her as well, but he just crashes in like,
that'd be amazing.
Like, oh, you're not getting away with this, Doctor Octopus, and then Spider-Man's like, oh, that's my cue, and he comes and just starts fighting people. Doc Octopus runs away with Aunt May, and ends up like they bring he has a secret floor that opens and reveals a jet. It's like a Bond villain.
That's amazing.
That he can fly away, and then Hammerhead gets his jet out, and they all get on it, and Spider-Man jumps on the jet so they can fly after them.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's so ludicrous, and the bit the bit where the jet is revealed has this amazing bit where Spider-Man just goes, "A secret jet, I can dig it." Which is just an amazing line.
Can we go back to the wedding for a second? Because I kind of want to find out what his tentacles do in all this. Like,
but the thing is, he's proper got them out. He doesn't hide them. That's an amazing thing as well. He's just like imagine a guy. He's called Doctor Octopus. Everyone's saying he's a crazy evil genius terrorist, and you're getting married to him, and he's just there with like these tentacles everywhere. That's not like a good look.
no, it's not. It's not attractive. It's not like something you see in like Forbes lists the hottest men. It's GQ, not Forbes, isn't it? Forbes do the finance stuff.
You might see it in Forbes' richest men.
Yeah.
Because they're all evil.
Yeah. They don't have tentacle arms though. Not yet. Jeff Bezos gave him like a couple of years and like all like
Either him or what was it? I was gonna say Ethan Hawke. No. what's the name of the I don't
even know who you mean.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of a white guy, and I thought of
Mark Zuckerberg, maybe?
No, the guy he's already a Spider-Man villain.
Bill Gates, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk is like he's like one bad night's sleep away from getting tentacle arms.
He's probably like testing them out now. That's why he underpays.
If you can get him to work on like just electric power,
he's definitely like tested it out once.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd be tweeting about it. So what are your question about these tentacles? I
kind of want to know what they're doing during the wedding. Like, I have many questions about like why Aunt May's into this, even though his like tentacles writhe around and she's getting married to him. But like, I can't imagine them like playing the organ as like Aunt May comes in, and then they have like catering at like the reception afterwards. Like one of them's holding out hors d'oeuvres.
You see, the thing is, this is assuming he's a nice guy. He's not going to do that. He's going to be like, I'm Doctor Octopus. I don't play the organ. I don't serve
But he's not
drinks.
playing them. Like, the tentacles doing that.
Yeah, he's still got to use his mind to make it do it.
So, like Larry's, like, classically trained in piano. He's like, just getting there.
Yeah, I don't think this is canonical in the comic books. I think this is canonical in the Melina-verse.
Fair enough. The Melina.
That's officially like the Raimi Spider-Man movies are now the Melina-verse.
I'm gonna launch another spiel about Aunt May and like which goes into 50 Shades of Grey, but I'm gonna like just not go there.
Not gonna add fuel to that fire
because it's raging, man. What were you saying? Before I derailed you?
We're getting to the end of this ridiculous issue, but at this point they're all heading off, they're all chasing each other. You're like, where's Doctor Octopus going? And this is when Hammerhead realizes what Spider-Man and Doctor Octopus already know, and the reader doesn't know. But what the inheritance is a Canadian island. And,
oh no.
Which Hammerhead is pissed about for some reason. He's like, I don't know what he expected at any point during this, but he's like, he finds out like, wait, it's a Canadian island? That's the inheritance? Oh, for God's sake.
I want on the Canadian island.
Well, I don't know if he's angry. I think he's angry because he doesn't think it's good enough. But
why would that make him angry?
You think like, does Doctor Octopus just really want an island?
It's not like a Doctor Octopus thing to do, just like,
what?
Would you want an
that's
island?
The thing though, there's another thing to this.
Oh God, there's more.
This island is rich with uranium. And that's why he wants it, because it's just full of uranium. And when they get to the island, there's a nuclear reactor set up there already. And it's unclear to me, either that or I've forgotten, but it's unclear whether this was already there, and it's just like she's inherited a nuclear reactor.
Who would betroth that to Aunt May? It's like, you know what this old lady needs? An entire, like, island made with radiation and a nuclear reactor.
The thing is, I think they worked their way backwards with this. I think they were like, let's have this front cover of him getting married. Why would he do that? Maybe
Let's
something
think
in her inheritance. What does Doctor Octopus like? He loves fucking uranium and radiation and stuff. He just loves science shit that might explode.
There's definitely a chimp in that writer's room that thought this up.
But they all land on this island and just start the fight again in this nuclear reactor. But Spider-Man's main goal is like, I'm just going to get Aunt May. Who cares about these guys? They can keep fighting on this island. I'm just going to get her and make sure she's safe. So he grabs Aunt May and finds another jet and just flies off in the jet. Which apparently Spider-Man knows how to fly.
Sure.
Yeah, but he just gets on. I mean, this is a weird series of issues. I think that the issue before this was the introduction of the Spider-Mobile. Do you know the Spider-Mobile?
Isn't that the car he has? Because
yeah, which like drives on walls.
I mean,
I think the Human Torch makes it for him.
That's a prank. He's been pranked and he just doesn't realise.
And also, I think there's a lot of stuff later on where Johnny Storm gives him shit about it all the time, like making fun of him for having the Spider-Mobile. Yeah. But it's a weird series of issues.
That sounds really weird.
And it's happening like in the wake of Gwen Stacy's death as well. It's like they have that.
Sorry, your girlfriend died. Here's a car for you.
Yeah, but then
it's like giving Doctor Octopus fuck.
Wait.
It's like giving Doc Ock a prosthetic arm. It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like a slightly inferior version of what he already has.
You're getting too excited.
I'm really worked up. Like that's such a dumb idea.
He's crying right now. Yeah, it's just a very destructive, stupid idea, and I think that's why they didn't stick with it for very long. I mean, it makes sense for toys, I guess, but...
Like, the only reason. Yeah, Superman, have this hang glider.
You know, that'll probably happen in Superman. I'm pretty sure I've seen a cover of a Superman issue where he's using a hang glider.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever
No, but
heard.
like, those Superman issues are all over the place, you know, like all those weird ones, like Jimmy Olsen being like, oh, Superman, why did you turn me into a chimp? And Superman's there like, so you can learn a lesson, Jimmy.
Superman, like, is like an abusive, like, father to Jimmy. It's really crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff, like the issue where Lois Lane is turned black.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Jab talking Superman.
Which again, it makes sense to me that in the 70s, some comic book writer thought that it was a good idea for Lois Lane to learn the African American experience by literally becoming black for 24 hours.
I mean, like, blackface in comics as a precedent.
Yeah, and this is just like next level because she actually transforms race.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing about it is that Superman has a machine that does this in the Fortress of Solitude.
So did he build it, or was it already there?
It's just there. It's not explained. He's just like, I have this machine. I don't know if he has this transformation machine and he just turns it to black.
Yeah.
You know, or if he's just like, oh well, you know, Kryptonians are weird. My dad gave me this. I don't really know what to do with it. I felt mean throwing it out.
You also gave me this hood. I don't know if I should do with that. Like,
anyway, we'll stop getting to this ending.
This ending.
They're flying away. Hammerhead and Doctor Octopus are fighting. Hammerhead, obviously, not the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah, he's got a hammer for a head.
Yeah, and he charges at Doctor Octopus. Doctor Octopus is like, no, don't! We're right by a nuclear reactor. I'm really not sure how any of them survived this, because he hits the nuclear reactor and the entire island blows up. And I'll include this in the episode notes, but I'll show Henry this.
Holy So he sets up a nuke, effectively.
He blows up a nuclear reactor, and both those characters do come back in the comics, and I have no clue how they possibly made out, because they were right next to it as it exploded.
But they're not, like, horribly deformed, more than they already are.
As far as I know, no, I've never seen it.
They're fine.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone, even if you've got adamantium in your skull or metal arms, I don't think you would survive a nuclear reactor exploding in your face.
I mean, like, maybe your forehead would survive, but the rest of your face isn't made of adamantium. You just vaporize.
Yeah, but it blows up the entire island. The entire island is a mushroom cloud.
That's why we don't have the dodo anymore.
And this is the weirdest tonal thing ever. Because after this, Peter just goes home and then he concludes this other sort of arc that's going on with Mary Jane. There's some soap opera there, so it's back to like regular life. But before that, as they're flying away from this massive explosion, Peter Parker says, I always knew Ock went in for things in a big way, but this is ridiculous. And he's saying this as this nuclear bomb goes up behind him and just Doctor Octopus, Hammerhead, dozens of guards who are fighting as well have all been vaporized and he's barely escaped, and he's just like making a joke about it, like he really doesn't give a fuck. I mean, maybe at this point, those guys have been giving him so much trouble, he's like,
I'm so glad they died in a nuclear explosion.
At least they can't possibly come back from that.
Yeah, no one can possibly come back from that. And as he's like talking to himself, Alma's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, she passed out this entire time. She like passed out as soon as they got to the Canadian island and Hammerhead was there, she's just like, I'm done.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Which is pretty convenient because she misses all the
nuclear explosion that happens.
Yeah, but I guess she'll just blame Spider-Man.
He blew up an entire island. But imagine that the international treaties that be violated by this.
Well, apparently it's private land. Like someone just owns an entire island. Don't know how that works. What happens if you blow up one of Leonardo DiCaprio's islands?
You'd probably get arrested.
I mean, he probably wouldn't be happy about it, but what if he got vaporized as well?
Yeah. He'd be like, oh shit, I would be upset, but my arm is currently melting, so I'm gonna have to let it go.
I don't know, I think TMZ would cover it. Imagine you're just coming out of a cafe and TMZ reporters there. They're like, why'd you blow up the island? You're like, oh god, leave me alone, come on. And
then they go to the island where it's going on. There's a guy in a hazmat suit going and he's slowly dying of radiation poisoning. He's got a Twitter account. He's just live tweeting. This Canadian island blowing up.
You know what? This makes a lot more sense pre-Twitter.
Yeah, Kendall Jenner's arm flies past him.
Yeah, it's Fire Island,
Fire
Festival Mark II.
Ja Rule's
fucking Ja Rule.
It's Ja Rule's nuclear warhead.
Yeah, because that's what Ja Rule with the Fire Festival. You know, he's like, I want to do a second one. We've learned from our mistakes last time.
Let's go nuclear. And they were
let's go to this Canadian island with a nuclear reactor. Everything will be fine.
And everyone thought it was joking. He's like, yeah, let's go nuclear.
Yeah, and it will literally blow up, and then he'll tweet about it, being like, whoa, I was duped. I was duped by Doctor Octopus.
Doctor Octopus would definitely want a fire festival of his own. He wants to bring all these models onto this island.
Maybe that's what he wanted to do with our mate's island. Wow, I'm all weird lord out.
That's the end of Weird Lore Bullshit Corner, where an island explodes and several people die. Yeah. But most importantly, Peter moves on from his dead girlfriend. But Aunt May still needs to get laid.
It probably does make you feel better to incinerate several of your enemies at once.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate cool guys don't look at explosions. Yeah. He's flying away with a nuclear explosion behind him.
If you're flying away, you don't look back because you're flying a plane. You're I should probably look while I'm flying.
And he doesn't know how to fly a plane, so he's like, oh my god, what's going on?
It's hard to think about your ex in that kind of situation. You got to move on from that fast. Bigger fish to fry, So, this concludes this episode of That 90s Spider-Man Show, where we talked about Doctor Octopus and about the power of responsibility. Any last words, Jack?
Check us out on Twitter. Our username on that is That90s SM Show. We're also on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes now.
We're on iTunes now, folks.
We're on Spotify.
We're everywhere you can find podcasts.
And also, I'm making these more extensive episode notes that are going up on the blog,
Okay.
which is That90s Spider-Man Show.home.blog. Because a lot of this, if we're talking about weird little bullshit corner, or we're talking about the origin issues, you can click on that. The link to the blog will be in the description of this episode, and then you can see the kind of stuff that I'm sharing, Henry. So this is a picture of a Canadian island exploding.
Yeah.
This is a picture of the kangaroo jumping over a fence.
All the important stuff. And
Yeah.
more importantly, there's no me talking over it. So it's even better.
Yeah.
You learn even more.
Yeah, you can just unsubscribe from this and
Just do that. Just don't have to hear my voice ever.
Mm.
No, that's a good idea. So yeah, follow us on Twitter, where you get all the updates for our latest episode, and all the shit talking we do, and some more episode notes. But yeah, apart from that, I think we're all golden. So, true believers, today we've learned that Henry should not be allowed to do a podcast, and we've also learned that Doctor Octopus really, really, really likes... I have no idea where I'm going with this. Today we've learned that great power does equal great responsibility, but we've also learned that there's only so many things you can do with 8 arms, and one of them is not to do the right thing. Again, I have no idea where I was going with this, but that concludes our episode. Please go about your days. Please remember to hug your parents. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys.